Hello guys, good afternoon. You are welcome to my YouTube channel, The Explicit Tutorials. As you're watching this video, endeavor to subscribe, like, share, and comment. In today's video, I shall be taking us in the 122, a topic called alimentary system in animals. Okay. Now, of course, this topic is not new. If I don't call it alimentary system, I can also call it what? Digestive system or gastrointestinal tract. First thing first, we shall be discussing the hormones that are responsible, or the hormones that take part during what? Digestion. The hormones. Now, during digestion, there are three hormones that majorly take part. One, we have the gastrin. All right. Now, the function of the gastrin or the functions of the gastrin are: one, it stimulates the stomach to produce what? Gastric acid, and what? HCl. All right. The gastrin, which is an hormone, it is responsible for the secretion of what? Gastric acid and what? HCl. You know, I told us that in the stomach there's what we call hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid converts pepsinogen to what? Pepsin. All right. You know, it is the pepsin that converts protein to what? Peptone. Now, that is the work of what? The gastrin. It stimulates the stomach to produce what? Gastric acid and what? Hydrochloric acid. Then the second hormone is secretin. Right, please, these are hormones that take part during what? Digestion. Now, the work of the secretin is to stimulate or cause the pancreas to send what? A digestive enzyme or digestive juice. Let me use the word juice. This juice is not fiber alive. This juice is not what? Fiber alive. Now, I said the secretin stimulates the pancreas to send what? A digestive what? Enzyme. Now, this same secretin, it also stimulates the stomach to produce what? Pepsin. All right. And secondly, it stimulates the liver to produce what? Bile. You know that bile, which is what? A greenish what is it called now? Substance, which is produced by the liver. Which of these stimulate production of bile by the liver? Please, it is what? The secretin. Secretin does three functions. It stimulates the pancreas to send what? A digestive enzyme that enhances what? Digestion. And two, pepsin. It stimulates the production of what? Pepsin, which converts protein to what? Peptone. It also stimulates the liver to produce what? Bile. And you know that in bile there's what? There's emulsification of fat. Fat is what? Emulsified in the bile. Then number three is the cholecystokinin. All right. So this is another hormone that is responsible for what? Digestive process. Cholecystokinin. The function of the cholecystokinin is to stimulate the growth of what? The pancreas. It stimulates the growth of what? The pancreas to produce what? A pancreatic juice. Now, the work of cystokinin is to what? Is to stimulate the growth of the pancreas, lead to the secretion of what? Pancreatic juice that takes part during what? Digestion. You have other examples of hormones. Okay, take note of this. Peptide YY. Peptide. I don't like this marker, it's not writing well. Peptide YY is produced in response to what? Meal. They will ask you which of these is produced to response to meal. The word is response to meal. When food is needed in the stomach, it is what? Peptide YY that is what? Produced. Also take note of this. Ghrelin. Ghrelin is produced when the stomach is empty. That is, when there is hunger, ghrelin is what? Formed. When the stomach is what? Empty. That is the kind of hormone that is what? Produced. I said gastrin, secretin, cholecystokinin are responsible for what? Digestive process, and these are what? Their various functions. So please take note that these are what we are discussing for now. And let us take the next stage. Now the next one are nerves that stimulate digestion. Nerves that take part in digestion. Nerves. Now we have okay, let me not go into that here. Let us discuss feeding mechanism. Feeding mechanism. All right, we have just two nerves that take part in digestion. We have the extrinsic nerve. Now this extrinsic nerve produces two hormones, which are the adrenaline and what the acetylcholine. You now have all the intrinsic nerve. So that one is quite simple. This one is much more complex than the nerves that take part during what digestion. Now feeding mechanism simply means the various means by which animals obtain their food from their external environments. Okay, now we have different animals and their feeding organs. Now there are three animals that feed on smaller food molecules. They do not require alimentary canal, which means that as soon as the food molecules are ingested into the body, the food molecules are easily what absorbed. Such organisms are called what? They are called microphagous feeders. Microphagous what? Feeders. All right. Microphagous feeders are animals that feed on smaller food molecules. All right. Let me get a better marker. Then while animals that feed on larger food molecules are called macrophagous feeders. All right. Macrophagous feeders. Then animals that feed on fluid or what? Liquid are called what? Fluid feeders. All right. So please take note of that. Now this macrophagous feeders is now divided into two. You have the suspension feeders and what? The deposit feeders. We have the suspension feeders and what? The deposit feeders under what? Macrophagous what? Organisms. Now let us analyze each term here. Now the word suspension means the process whereby a molecule or substances are found floating on a fluid. So animals that feed on particles that are found floating on the water are called what? Suspension what? Feeders. For example, now take for instance, please, suspension feeders are also called what? Filter feeders. They're also called filter feeders. And for them to have the ability to filter food, they have certain organs that enhance the filtering of what? Food molecules. Take for examples, the bivalve mollusk. Bivalve mollusk. The bivalve mollusk, the sabella. The sabella is one of the various beautiful what? Polychaeta. Sabella is an example of what? A polychaeta. And this sabella has a retractable mouth part that is made up of what? Branchial tentacles. Please, the tentacles found in sabella is called what? Pinus. The tentacles that are found in sabella are called what? Pinus. And these pinus are surrounded by what is called what? Cilia. Cilia is a hair-like structure that are found covering what? The pinus of what? Sabella. And this sabella is found in a semicircular area of what? The water body. Other examples of animals that have cilia are the sponges. The sponges, they use cilia as what? As their feeding organ. And again, we have the tadpoles. The tadpoles are young frogs. All right. Other examples are which one again? Okay, I've written sponges. You now have bivalve mollusk, just as I've written before. Bivalve mollusk. and we now have what? Protochordates. Protochordates. Now, these organisms, they feed with cilia. They use cilia as what? Their feeding organ. Please don't forget this. Which of the following organisms uses cilia as what? Feeding organ. Please take note of that. A type of beautiful cheetah having a branchial tentacles surrounded by a cilia is called which of these? It is what? The sabella. I said bivalve mollusks, protochordates, tadpoles, sponges, they all feed using what? The cilia. Examples of other bivalve mollusks that use cilia for feeding are, we have the Mystilus and Crastostri. Let me see if it's correct. Okay, Crastostri. All right, so please, and this is what an oyster. So all these organisms, they are filter feeders. That is, they have cilia. They use cilia for what? Feeding. Take note of this. I said cilia is that hair-like structure that surrounds the branchial tentacles of what? Sabella. Other examples of animals that uses cilia for feeding are sponges, tadpoles, bivalve mollusks, protochordates, and another type of bivalve mollusks called what? Mystilus and what? Ostra. Cassoodistra. Take note of this. Then other organisms also have different feeding organs. All right, please take note of this. All these animals, they use cilia to what? Feed. All these animals, all of them, they use cilia what? As what? Feeding organ. Hence they are called what? Ciliates. Animals that use cilia for feeding are called what? Ciliates. So please take note of that. Which one again? So let us now discuss animals that use mucus trap. Animals that use mucus trap to feed. All right, they have the ability to secrete what? Mucus. Examples of these animals are the prosobranch gastropods, tunicates, and Chitopteros. Now, and these three animals, all right, they use mucus trap to what? Feed. That is, they have specialized cells that produce mucus, such that as soon as the organism gets in contact with this mucus, it sticks. As soon as it sticks, these organisms will now absorb food molecules from what? The prey that have been what? Stuck to the mucus. So please, mucus trap is the feeding organ of prosobranch gastropods, tunicate, and what? And Chitopteros. Please take note of that. Then another set of animals, they use setae or seta for what? Feeding. Examples are the herons, the Africa flamingos, you have the baleen whale, and small crustacean. All right, so these organisms, they use mucus trap to feed. Seta is the feeding organ of herons, African flamingos, baleen whale, and small crustacean. Please don't take one for the other. The first ones I gave, I said sponges, protochordates, bivalve mollusk, and which one again? Tadpoles. They use cilia as their what? Feeding organ. But these ones, they use what? Mucus trap as their feeding organ, and these other organisms, they use what? Setae as what? Their feeding organ. Please take note of that. And secondly, a macrophagous feeder that feed on deposited food, a macrophagous feeder or a filter feeder that feed on deposited food is called indirect deposit feeder. Please, a macrophagous or filter feeder that feeds that feeds on deposited food. You know that normally these guys, they don't feed on deposited food, they feed on suspended food molecules. But the ones that are not found feeding on foods molecules that have been deposited, they are called what? Indirect deposit what? Feeders. Example is the sedentary. Example is what? The sedentary what? Terebella. Please take note of that. Sedentary terebella feeds indirectly, like is an indirect deposit what? Feeder. Sedentary terebella. Take note of that. And again, please, deposit feeders are divided into two: direct and what? Indirect. Example of indirect deposit feeder is what? A terebella. Then example of direct deposit feeders are amphitrites. Amphitrites. All right. Amphitrites is an example of a sexile. Let me spell the word. A sexile tube dwelling polychaeta. Now they'll ask you, a sexile tube dwelling polychaeta is called which of these? It is called what? The amphitrites. The amphitrites, they are direct deposits of feeders, and they are sexile, and they are found in a tube, and they are what? They are polychaeta. Please take note of that. And we now have what? Fluid feeders. You know, I gave you three. Fluid feeders are animals that feed on fluid or liquid molecules. Examples are bees, aphids, butterfly, fly, housefly. They are all fluid feeders. All right. They use their proboscis. They have proboscis with which they what? Feed on fluid. And even bees, the Apis melliferans, they feed on what? Fluid food molecules. So that is for that. Is there any other point? So at this point, we call it a day. In our next class, I'm going to be teaching us the four criteria with which food molecules are what? Digested. One, or the various mediums that take part in food digestion. One, we have the receiving region. Two, we have the conducting and storage region. Three, we have the digesting and absorbing region. Four, water absorbing and voiding region. These are the four criteria with which molecules are what? Broken down in the body of an animal. So at this point, we'll call it a day. I'm uploading the video right away.